So, it's that time of year again with the Premier League predictions. The season has obviously just kicked off recently. I pretty much was away on holiday by the time it was actually starting, so they're coming out just about a week or two after the season's up and running. So, go from last place straight up to the champions. Pretty much just do that. Got a lot of the signings here. A bit at the end where the top goal scorer and that. Let's see how it goes. So, the bottom three, I've got Bournemouth, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest. Pretty much it's all the three promoted teams, and pretty much Bournemouth, I just think it's the weakest out of the three. Even though you've got Scott Parker, the one that compared to always get teams promoted, like Fulham and that, I think. It's just you look at the business, which I find out to know, you've not really done a lot. Excuse me. Ideally you're coming back up to the Premier League after I think what, the second season away it was? It's just not good enough. You've got to be ultimately Neto, Fredericks and Marcus Tavernier for Middlesbrough is a fair. They're alright signings, but you've got to add probably another 5 or 6 players to that. There's a reason you went down in the first place. There's a reason why you can't get back up instantly. And with this squad, it's not like Bournemouth don't have the money. You get 100 million for getting promoted. The squad's not going to be on overall extremely huge wages. You expect more from them. Not really lost anyone, so that's probably going to be a positive. Fulham, they're pretty much just a yo-yo club, going up and down. They'll probably be relegated, not to win the championship, and they'll probably just keep bouncing between themselves and their own fucking lands, which will be funny. Fulham have obviously done a lot of strengthening, fairly good signings, but realistically, is a squad good enough to compete? I don't really think so. Simple as that. Forest, as a basis, it's a toss-up. Because I was considering keeping Forest up. But I just look at the signings and their squad and it's just not what I would say. They signed some good players. Players from all about the place. A couple from the Bundesliga. Pretty much, well, I think actually most of them. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4? But 4 or 5 players for the Bundesliga, I think. The squad overall still needs improvement, but that's what happens when you first come up to the Premiership. They've not went and done what Fulham done, or have done in the past, have got like spend 100 million, 150 million on players, and then it's like, fuck, get relegated, and you're done. You've got to sell players, you've got to cut wages, everything like that. They've only lost Samba, and they've replaced it with Dean Henderson, basically, as a main. Pretty sure they've got Wayne Hennessy also, but main goal's got to be Dean Henderson, which ain't a bad signing. Not really seen much of him, obviously, of recent seasons because De Gea's been better than him and he just kind of got kicked out of the team. But I think those will be the bottom three. Moving on to 17th, I've got Brentford. It was a genuine toss-up for the last 3 teams, like 16, 17 and 18th, are basically the teams that I thought one of the, like, out of those 3. I struggle, but I put Brentford to just there. I think it'll be like Sheffield United. Second season syndrome. They've lost Ericsson, which will be a massive loss. You've seen as a spike in form once they signed him in January. They've also signed Hickey, Lewis Potter, Sakosha, Ben Mee. Not really spent a fuckload of money. Pretty sure Hickey was about 20 something million. Potter's was about 15. Sakosha and Ben Mee, I'm pretty sure, were both on a free transfer. Ericsson lost on a free, obviously, because it was only a 6-month deal. I think more of the second season syndrome, like Sheffield United, as I says, they'll be found out. The tactic will be found out, I feel. I think it'll probably be what we've seen in previous seasons where the bottom 3 with 6 or 7 games to go is confirmed. I think it'll basically be like that. Brentford will probably be safe with about 5, 6 games to go and the bottom 3 will be secured. 16th I've got Southampton. I was very much considering putting them relegated and put Forest 16th. But I think they've not really lost anyone. They've strengthened, I don't really know, apart from Aribo, I don't really know. Obviously, I know Aribo with watching with Scotland with Motherwell. Well, against Motherwell, I mean, they've signed a couple of youngsters, 19, 20-year-olds. They've not really like made that big. Go spend 50, 60, 70 million and just strengthen two in each position, like in each category, and just go for it. They'll just be fine, but they do need to get to the point where they do strengthen severely, or they run the risk of getting relegated probably next season. 15th, I've put Everton. I think with Lampard, I think just with Benitez, I was just a negative style football, which got them to where they were. Everton have lost obviously to Chelsea, which is going to be a massive loss. I'm not at all replacing them. Just see what voted in Everton. Signed Dwight McNeil, Pekoski, Vinagre. It's just not good enough. Realistically, you're in a relegation scrap all of last season. How can you afford to sell Richarlison for what, like 50, 60 million and not replace him? You've got Calvert-Lewin coming back, but you cannot have, like I said, Dwight McNeil, Anthony Gordon, whoever the fuck else doing it. You've got to have people that are like constant. You sell Richarlison, go and sign two strikers. Because when Calvert-Lewin, he's not got the best injury record, I don't think. He's not really consistent, either with his numbers. Go and sign somebody that's... You could have went and maybe signed like Belotti for Torino. I'm pretty sure he's on a free transfer or something, or he was. Maybe he could have went and just signed a couple of players. Go to the Bundesliga, you probably could have went with Sebastian Haller for Dortmund. Well, for Ajax at the time, I don't know if he joined Dortmund before with George Gasol, but you've got then maybe convince Doyle Mal and maybe go for other players, but everyone will pretty much struggle, and I don't think it won't be a relegation scrap towards the end, but it won't be a good season for them. 14th, they've got Leeds, pretty much. They've lost Rafinha, Calvin Phillips. They've obviously signed, a couple of different players. You've got Tyler Adams, Walker, Christensen, there's a Sinistra, Harrison. Fuck loads, I'm trying to pronounce it the best I could. I just don't think. I think 14th. I really do. I think with a better, like obviously under Bielsa, I was just gung ho, and I think with their second season syndrome, it was more the players were just born out. You can't be training 6, 7 days a week for like 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And the intensity they were constantly. You get burnt out in the top sport basically with too much training, and with Jesse Marsh just kept them up. Well, also Rafinha, with like a last kick of the game winner, they just secure the survival basically. Now easily, Leeds could just go straight down and not even have a fight, and Forest or Thumb could stay up. But what do you see with that one? 13th, I've got Aston Villa. Now they've strengthened fairly well. Diego Carlos, you've got Coutinho back on a permanent, you've got Kamara, you've got Olsen and Augustinsson. I think I pronounced the Sevilla left back, which ain't actually bad. Not really lost anyone significant. So it's just one of those where you see a style of player under Gerrard, and it's just now he's got more players in. It's now, can he develop that? That back line's been the dodgiest. But Diego Carlos with Augustin, I think there was a Matt Target moved on in January on a loan, but that was the only thing with. So realistically, you look at that, you've got holding midfielder, your left back, centre back, you've kept Coutinho. Fucking hell, you've got a backup goalkeeper. So I think 30th is probably realistic for them. And around 15th to 12th is probably the realistic aim, obviously. They want to try and probably push for a top half finish. Don't think that they are just yet. Probably still need another, say, 3 signings for a top half finish. Just try to go for the top ahead of what can remember for the starting squad for last season. 12th, I've got Palace. Compared to last season, I've not got them rock bottom. Obviously, Conor Gallagher's came back from loan, so they have lost him, which was quite significant. They've also signed the Corby for, I think, Lens. Sam Jones as a backup. And then Chris Richards, I think, from Bayern. I don't really know about him. Not really strengthened heavily, but not really lost out heavily. The Corby's players are like for like with Gallagher. I was trying to remember the name there. But, yeah. I think 12, I think the style of football they'll play last season. I think they'll probably be comfortable. You'll probably see Eze or Lesse have a good breakout season. You probably will get odds on Edward. He'll probably have the ground running because, fair enough, this was his first season last season. New culture, country, everything like league, everything like that. I think Palace will probably be more than comfortable this season. I think in around 10th to 12th will pretty much be where they'll hit. 11th, I've got Leicester City. Not really, I don't think they're strengthened at all. They've lost Kasper Schmeichel, which will be a very big loss, because you know how good a goalkeeper he is. But it's one of those of where is the lack of signings, because I think just recently Ricardo Pereira has now been ruled out with a cruciate again, I think it was. So he's out pretty much until in probably February, March time again, unfortunately. There's going to be a massive blow for that. But not really making those signings. You've also got the likes of Madison rumoured. I've had like Newcastle being interested in making bids. Fofana with Chelsea. They've not really strengthened, and some players are getting on. You've got Vardy that's getting on. You've got Daka that's obviously just new to the league from last season. They probably would have to go and sign maybe another 3 or 4 players to try and get back into European places. But I think 11th will be fair for them. 10th I got Brighton. I just think the style of football Grandpa's playing. They've lost Basuma, which is a massive loss. They've lost Cucurella just recently, which will be another big loss. A couple of the signings doesn't really inspire me, but I think overall they've probably prepared for losing Basuma over the past couple of seasons. They say with Cucurella in the last season or so. I think with the style of football that Potter plays, I think 9th place is more than realistic for Brighton. 9th place I've got Wolves. I don't really see them pushing on. They've made I was going to say Wang, the striker from Leipzig, permanent. They brought in, I think it was Nathan Collins for Bournemouth. No, not Bournemouth, Burnley, I mean. They've obviously lost Robin Size, Vinagre, Marcel, or Marcel, I think you pronounce it. Not really strengthened in the attacking options, which like they've been last season. Defensively, they were fine. They were up there for clean sheets and quite defensively solid. It was just they need attacking options to get there, because Jimenez could have a blue patch, could have Neto not firing, not really replace Shaw's goals. Traore obviously is moved back from Barcelona after they didn't take up the option to buy. He's not really got an end product there. He can pretty much sprint and that's it. But Wolves, I think 9th place, just with the defence, I think they'll be solid. And I will see. 8th place I've got Newcastle. They have much better season than last season. They've done fairly okay in the transfer market. They signed Botman, Pope, and then made them a target a permanent. Not really inspirational signings, and they probably still need another 3 or 4 players before they'll get into Europe. But obviously, just if they go on the run that they did when Eddie Howe came in and made those signings, you never fucking know. You could easily make another signing or 2 to now. Go on a good couple of maybe 6, 7 game unbeaten runs, where that's 5 draws and 2 wins or whatever, and go on and just get in the top 6 and get Europe again. I don't really think so. I think they're just another point 2-3. There'll be another 2-3 years away before we'll be talking about Champions League challenging Newcastle. But realistically, I think another 12 to 18 months, another 2-3 windows, and they'll be pretty much in and around Europa League consistently. 7th, I've got West Ham. I think with their squad, they're just probably the best one. They've got Skamaka, Cornet, Ariola are permanent. They signed a Stade de Rennes. Centre back, I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's like Aguerd or whatever, I don't know how. They've lost Masuaku, Yarmolenko, Fredericks. Not really lost anything significant, but they've lost obviously the 2 fullbacks and a winger. Good squad players. They've signed a couple of decent players, which still say they probably need another 2 players before we'll see them back in and around the Champions League spots where they were during the COVID season. But they're not too far off. 6th place I've got with Manchester United. I think even though you signed Eriksen, Malacia, Lisandro Martinez, you've lost Pogba, Cavani, Matic, Mata, players that can make a difference, and Ten Hag wanted his signings done before pre-season started. And I think that was at the 14th week or something for Frenkie de Jong negotiations. You would have had probably another centre back, a right back. Still, I think this is now the 4th or 5th season without a holding midfielder properly. You've been desperate for one for 4 or 5 seasons now. Still not signed one. Wanted a winger and a striker, not got either. Eriksen took a while to get done. Martinez was probably more of a panic signing because I think he wanted Jurrien Timber instead. I just don't think United get. I think they'll be lucky to get top 6 this season. I could generally see them if it's what the performance was like against Brighton. I will take time on a new style of football, a new regime, but there'll be very much a big risk, and I don't think, unless they win the Europa League, they don't get Champions League football again next season. 5th place, I've gone with Arsenal. Now, with them signing Jesus, Zinchenko, Fabio Vieira, letting go a couple of squad players, I still think they're probably another 3 players, 4 players away from probably Champions League consistently. I just don't see them getting it this season unless they win the Europa League instead of Manchester United. I just don't think it'll be this year. You get pundits between them and Chelsea, basically. It's basically between them and Chelsea. For me, I put Chelsea 4th, just down to the overall squad. I think it's better. Manager's better. They've signed Koulibaly, Cucurella. Who else have Chelsea signed? Raheem Sterling, they're still pushing for I think another centre back and a midfielder. They've got Timo Werner's going to be leaving, so they definitely need another striker or 2. They can't just leave their foot like they're attacking that short. They need to go and sign. I know Lukaku's went on loan, but he never fit the system. He always never probably wanted by Thomas Tuchel. Timo Werner's playing his more style of player, but he needs someone that'll go and get you 25 goals. And he's just not done that. And that'll be required, or it'll be a toss-up between the 2 of them for the 4th place this season. 3rd place I've got with Spurs. I think we just the same with Charleston, Basuma, Foster, Perisic, Lenglet, Jay Spence. They've only lost significantly Stephen Bergwijn. You seen at the back end of last season when Conte got drilled into them. You still seen performances against Burnley, that was shocking. We've seen performances against like Man City, that were good. A full pre-season into it was an Italian pre-season. They are killer, they are just, you will run your bollocks off 7 days a week and you will get fit. It's like a typical old school Scottish manager. The Italians are like, is just run and fucking run till you're sick. But I think with Kane and Son, Kulusevski pressure on a permanent, Bentancur pressure on a permanent, the way it's set up, the squad, it does seem like this season will be a very good season for Spurs. If they just get in the Champions League, I think they'll be comfortable this season. I think we'll probably be in the top two between City and Liverpool. They'll probably be third place with City, no, Spurs on their own. Probably by like 15, 20 points away from the top two, but like 8, 9, 10 points clear of fourth and fifth. Top two, I've went with Liverpool second, just because so many signed nowadays. You've got Calvin Ramsey in, you've got Fabio Carvalho. It's not really good signings. Darwin Núñez hasn't one good season in the Portuguese league. I don't really know about him for 100 million. I think with the overall squad, what you probably should be looking at is probably 2 central mids, and then you're probably looking for what? Maybe another attacker, just for when Salah needs a race and dips out of form like he did then back in the last season. Someone to come in when Núñez will be injured and Fabinho isn't even firing. You need options. Up front, midfield, you need another hold midfielder. With Henderson getting on, Fabinho pressures in his late. He's coming to his 30s now. So you definitely need that. And you need a number 8. Probably the likes of a Frankie de Jong or something like that. A Jude Bellingham type. That'll probably be next season's major market signing. I think with City, I think they'll win the league comfortably. I think they'll probably win it by 8 or 9 points. Signing Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez obviously was signed back in January, but he's obviously for the summer. Calvin Phillips, they've let Sterling go, Gabriel Jesus go, Zinchenko. They probably do need another left back and probably another centre back. Because they don't really want to be having to play like Calvin Phillips as centre back. Obviously Laporte's injured now. But we probably need another 2 defenders, left back, centre back, and then you're fine. I think they'll run away with the league this year, especially with Erling Haaland. Moving on to the last little bit, as be top goal scorers, assisters and all that. Top scorer, I've got Erling Haaland. I think he'll run away with that. I think with the likes of De Bruyne, Silva, Foden, Grealish, I think he'll get 25 goals comfortably in the Premier League this season. Top assister, Kevin De Bruyne. I think when you've seen the amount of chances he creates for seasons gone of Jesus, Grealish, Sterling, I think when you've got Haaland that has been scoring goals consistently, 20 odd plus, for what, 3, 4 seasons now, at how young he is. He scored 2 against West Ham, obviously one was a penalty. I know that, but I think he's going to be one that will be a player that probably be the likes of that Kun Aguero, but for a bigger build. The one that probably will go on to probably break Aguero's goal scoring record in the City and will probably be the all-time top goal scorer if he stays there. Like the time Aguero did, which I think was what? A decade, 11 years? He'll definitely help Kevin De Bruyne get the top assister. Manager of the season, Pep. Pretty much wins the league gets manager of the season. Player of the season, De Bruyne. I think we'll see with Haaland. You'll get assists up probably by a 3 or 4-fold. You'll get his goals up because he'll just be pinging them from everywhere, not even giving a fuck. Signing of the season, Erling Haaland. I think he'll just fucking, especially for I think 51 million it was roughly to 60 million or something. 50 to 60 million release clause for 21, 22 years of age for his goals. I think that's a nailed on one. Flop of the season, I've got with Richarlison. I think for 60 million, I don't see how he's worth that. I think they spent like 40 million signing him. Everton did. Don't know how, if they did make a profit, how. I don't think he will even get the game time because you have Kane, Son, Kulusevski. I just don't see Richarlison been a good signing. Overachievers, I went with Leeds United. I think Luis Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, two players are proven Premier League quality. Obviously, Rafinha's went to Barcelona, Phillips has went to City. I'm not really sure with the replacements because some of those signings are like, well, two of the central midfield signings are like a emergency backup Bayern Munich centre mid and a starting to squad player. Leipzig player, I just don't really think they'll think with it. Underachievers, I think Brentford. I genuinely think with I did say earlier in the video, second season syndrome they'll be caught out for the style, but I still think that squad could be good enough. I think realistically that squad, you probably need another 5-6 players. Realistically that squad could probably push on for a 12th place finish, 13th place finish. But I think with just second season syndrome, they'll get caught out. So that is the end of the video. That is the end of the 2022-23 Premier League predictions. Now these, by the time this is out, it will end up being by the end of the second game week. And it's just because I was away on holiday. I wanted to wait because it was more of getting signings done. So I was on holiday. It was still the last week of July, which still had a lot of signings to get done. I'm pretty sure a lot of signings have still been done since then. But if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Next video will probably be another predictions video for Scotland, for the SPL. So catch us for that one. Goodbye.